have with me here Eric Schabell. I pronounce correctly? You can correct me and you can say it properly. I have trouble with certain last names, and probably people have a problem with my last name, so I understand the pain. Yes, exactly. That complicated. Welcome, Eric. I'm happy to see you. Can you please introduce yourself, tell a bit about your role, and what are you doing in your day-to-day professional life to our audience?
Sure. As you just heard, my name is Eric Schabell. I work for a company called Prometheus. It's a SaaS media platform.
Yes.
Sneezing in the background.
Yeah, it's okay.
My role is community and developer relations. A small team that does this for observability. A lot of it focused on the CNCF, local CNCF ambassadors. We have stuff we talk about is hotels, telemetry, Prometheus, Percy's, which I'll talk about here.
Okay.
And also Fluentbit.
Oh, nice. All the cool parts, keeping Kubernetes in check, so to speak.
Keep track of what's happening.
Yeah, that's very important because there's a lot of projects that keep appearing in the Kubernetes space, even though that Kubernetes feels like has been like forever, because we kind of saw it grow and gain more and more traction, get more and more adoption. And I just lost count with the amount of projects, what's the state of some of them it is in CNCF, like if they're like fully now integrated, mature and so on, they've seen the adoption, they just began.
Yeah.
So the talk here was on Prometheus, right?
Yeah. It's on Percy's.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I can give you a little bit of introduction to that with basically the way CNCF works is you start with the sandbox stuff. Okay. And then it goes to incubation, and then it goes to graduate. Okay. So things like Prometheus have been around since 2016. It's graduated. OpenTelemetry is incubation right now. Okay. Fluentbit falls under the Fluent projects. That's graduated. And Percy's just achieved about 6 months ago, I think, sandbox status.
Well, that's nice.
Super interesting, right?
Yeah. For our, let's say, Java audience, who does like Java audience? Can you please talk a bit about the project and about what it does, what it hopes to help with in the Kubernetes space? Why is that relevant to developers also?
So observability in general has become a lot more integrated in a developer's life because of doing DevOps, right? Yes. Something that you're getting introduced to. In large organizations tend to have platform engineering that's ensuring that your entire environment, not only development, but also observing and tracking logs, metrics, and traces on the things you're building. From a Java standpoint, that has to do with like auto instrumentation or manual programmatic instrumentation using these libraries. What Percy's is doing within this space, there's a very first observability dashboard visualization project. Which is kind of crazy if you think about how long CNCF's been going. Wow. They specifically focus on giving you the ability to do visualization. And a lot of people think, Grafana, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, hey, didn't we have Grafana?
Take a look where Grafana is. It's not in the CNCF.
That's also true because while I was preparing to say, but we have Grafana.
There's a little bit of a problem here. And so the guys around this stuff are tightly integrated with Prometheus. They came out of that. We're also working with Prometheus, which is a metrics platform. They have their own query language for the data that they collect and store. It's called the Prometheus Query Language, Schabell. And so using that, they initially set this project up to do a focused dashboard visualization tool for an engine for querying to those kind of databases. Right?
Oh, nice.
Prompt.
So nice. So now it's going to be like the CNCF way of approaching and integrating those and not, all the time relying on Grafana. Because, yes, I grew up with actually the Prometheus, Grafana. There's like a specific stack that you're using. Right. Actually, 2 stacks. There are 2 ways. 2 stacks. And actually, good point.
Yeah.
So that's what you brought up here at Devoxx UK to the developers. Any favorite language that you used during your talk, or how do you do demo about this project?
Right, so Prometheus basically is an engine you can deploy. Some of the things that were interesting in the talk that I don't go into much detail because they just did this at KubeCon London last month. The core maintainers, the two of them showed up and showed dashboard as code. So one of the big focuses is first Kubernetes. Number two is being able to do CI/CD with this stuff very easily. A lot of the contributors came originally from Chronosphere and also are continuing to do it at Prometheus. Core Logic's involved, Red Hat's involved. These people are all highly interested in doing dashboards. So
obviously,
when you're rolling out, new services, rolling out, you can provide the visualizations along with that rollout. And there's also some migration tooling inside there for migrating from the dashboards to this. And the real core of this thing that makes it the most interesting is they want to have a dashboard language, standardized language. So specification.
Okay.
Have a specification. That means we can code through it.
It's true.
So you can code right now and go and include Q. But what's stopping you from doing Java later or whatever you do, right? So
interesting.
Very interesting.
Okay, that sounds really, really cool. And thank you for the fresh news on what's going on in the CNCF area. So folks, as you can see, Devoxx UK is bringing lots of technologies, not just focused on one technology, one framework and so on. We're looking into a breadth of technology to give you more to work with in your day-to-day life as developers. Well, Eric, I want to maybe conclude a bit our conversation with some takeaways that you have for our viewers right now, takeaways from using the project, or from if you need contribution, given that's open source as part of CNCF, maybe contribution is also possible for our viewers?
For sure. I personally have done a few contributions. I'm not a highly technical Go developer or Q developer or whatever you want to call it inside what they're really doing inside there. It is a very young project. The next version is 0.5. So, I mean, it's very early days. They just rewrote the ability to use plugins to embed your dashboards in other places in your organization. They're putting together a collection of pre-made dashboards.
That's actually
a marketplace for that.
Oh, nice.
I mean, these are all long-term plans, of course, but they're setting the framework together for that. But one thing you can do quite easily is to help with some of the documentation. That's what I chose to do. I set up the original how to get started piloting project from source, because in the old days I thought that was kind of fun. How to use it as a container-based install. I developed a workshop around it and kind of integrate some of that into the docs. I shared that in my talk, so you can check that out.
So, benefits open source.
It's a very, very young project, right? So there's a lot of needs and stuff. And it's kind of interesting because, for example, Red Hat integrated it into their OpenShift container platform for some of the traces.
Okay.
But they chose to use a query language that wasn't, for example, Hotel's query language, which you would expect to be this is an example of somebody scratching their own personal itch. Their query language was Grafana query language, so the Tempo. So there is tracing ability to visualize that stuff if you're using Tempo as your storage engine.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, there's lots to do if you could.
And of course, new ideas are welcome to improve it because, well, young product means that new ideas are welcomed as well. It's not all set in stone, except for the goals of the project.
Check out the roadmap, right? It's a nice place to know.
Nice. All great stuff. Well, thank you very much, Eric, for joining me during this interview. Folks, I invite you to watch Eric's talk. It's going to be insightful. Check all the repos, all the links that he's sharing, and maybe contribute to this cool project. And yes, stay tuned for more videos from Devoxx UK 2025. Watch the channel.
Thank you.